If you listen to the show, you already know that we cannot exist without our sponsors. They are the ones who make things happen behind the scenes. So let's acknowledge Fuji Sports. We've been working with these guys for a while now, not only as far as this podcast is concerned, but also at the RŌL Academy. We've had their gear. I personally use their gis. What a phenomenal product.
Yeah, I mean, jiu-jitsu, judo, MMA, tape, bags, anything you need for your jiu-jitsu journey, you can find at fujisports.com.
Let's talk RŌL TV. There's so much content on there. It's ridiculous at this point. But I think what is even more intriguing, as time went on during the project, we've been recording most of the events that were taking place here at RŌL Academy. At this point, I mean, we have guys like Chris Howder, Armin Fati, Rafael Lovato Sr., and Pete the Greek. I mean, there were so many different events that we've kind of recorded it. Don't you think that's amazing? I mean, points of reflection and kind of going back for all the students to see what really happened and refresh their memory.
Yeah, I think it's great, you know, being able to go back and look at all these high-level practitioners, Octavio Cudo, like one of the names you didn't mention. And I mean, just these guys that have been doing this for so long come in, teach these amazing seminars and workshops, and it's all recorded and there for you to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to get additional savings on all this, type in code RŌL Radio at the coupon and get additional 30% off of your membership.
Nice. Go to rolacademy.tv. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please remember to hit the like, share, subscribe, download, listen, and whatever other button there is, and leave us a review wherever you do listen. That ensures that we can continue bringing you the great guests and amazing content that you've come to expect. This is our 200th episode, and we couldn't be happier to celebrate it by bringing back our very first guest. Alberto Crane joins us to share how he has created such an incredible culture and community throughout his legacy locations, how TacFit changed his life, what he believes we are all here for, and a ton more. Here is the 200th episode of the RŌL Radio with our very special guest and friend, Alberto Crane.
Welcome to RŌL Radio.
And we are live.
Yeah, I almost forgot to hit record. I got it right at the last second.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Well, this is a big one for us.
It is.
Episode 200.
200. What did
And-
Ryan Ford say?
That most we give up after 7 episodes.
After 7 episodes. So talk about too stubborn to quit.
Yeah, I know, right? But the more importantly, I think, what for me personally, what makes this really special, we have Professor Alberto Crane on the episode. And Alberto, do you remember the first episode that we recorded together?
Wow, yeah. Wow, 200. Congratulations, guys. That's amazing. That's a
Thank
lot of
you.
work and a lot of pleasure too, right? A lot of learning, a lot of connections with people. Did you guys ever think it was going to be what it is?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, it's so, for those who do listen at this moment, Alberto was our episode number 1 at the very, very beginning of all this. And this was middle of pandemic when all this crazy stuff was happening. And he was gracious enough to join us for our episode 1. We had no idea what we were doing. If you listen to that episode, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But it was a beginning of a great relationship, at least in my mind. And from there, we've met and we've talked to so many different people. I mean, 200 different guests, 200 different episodes. What a great journey it was. So first, I want to say thank you. Thank you for putting up with us on the very first episode, and thank you for allowing this relationship to continue growing. That's so amazing.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's what an honor for me. You guys are connecting with all the Gracies and people in the jiu-jitsu community, and that's what it's about, right? Is connecting and helping people become better. So I'm proud to be a part of that, whatever small part it was.
Well, yeah. I mean, it all started so innocently, and then it grew into something bigger, right? And do you feel that last 3 years, because it's been over 3 years, that things have changed, like for you personally, as the academy, as the TacFit continues unfolding, and you're so busy, it's insane. Do you think that things have changed into the positive?
I mean, it's always, I feel like it's always been positive, but have things changed in the last 3 years? For sure, for sure. I mean, we're in a situation with the pandemic, right, where I wasn't essential. I don't know if you guys were essential in Illinois, in Chicago,
No.
but we're definitely in a different spot now. And it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool to see things shift a little bit, right? With just all the stuff that's happened, right? Not to go into all that stuff, but it's been cool to stay connected, with people, our community here locally, and then I think all around it, and including us, right? In Chicago. I was able to go out to your guys' graduation last year, and it's really amazing, man. It's really amazing, and I'm proud to be a part of things that are people that are making a difference. And so thank you guys,
Do
and
you
let's.
do you ever look back at your life from obviously MMA and all that, and then into jiu-jitsu, and then TacFit, and see the impact that you personally are making and creating these opportunities and creating these relationships all throughout the world?
Do I ever look back? Maybe I do sometimes, but it's just so much that it's a little bit overwhelming, right? So not that be like, and saying I'm saying that in a humble way. I don't think about it, just like my day to day, and I just have that feeling of I want to help people, I want to help people be their best, and I think I just stay there, I want to do my best as well, right? So I just stay there. I stay there in that feeling, and then what happens happens, and then staying true to that, because people try to maybe sometimes change you or try to change your way of thinking, but I think it's important to stay true to who you are, whatever that may be, right? But staying true to who you are, no matter what. And I think that way, because people get sick, right? Otherwise, if you're trying to be somebody else that you're not supposed to be, or you're trying to be somebody to please other people. And so I'm just really grateful. I'm grateful that I have people that support me, that are around me, that let me be me, and however busy that may be, or whatever crazy things that may happen with that. They love and support me, and it's hard not to do well with that.
Have you envisioned, like years ago, 2 decades ago, when all of this, or maybe even farther back, have you envisioned that you would be in a position that you are in, that you would be able to impact so many people all throughout?
Did I didn't. I didn't. I never did. Actually, never started. I never did jujitsu because I thought I wanted to have a school. Um, I just did it because I loved it, and I loved how it made me feel. And my mom was a teacher, a school teacher. My grandmother was a school teacher. My grandfather was, like, they were on the board of education for the state of New Mexico, and not just that, but they've done a lot of things for the community, and I think I grew up with that. And maybe subconsciously, it kind of like got planted in my psyche as a boy, and as a teenager, of that. There was a when my grandmother passed away. Um, it was, we're from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and she had her funeral, and there was a cathedral. It's like the Santa Fe Cathedral, it's downtown Santa Fe, and it's pretty big. And it was there was no room. There was no room. People were outside, and a lot of people that I've met later on too, they said, "Show your grandmother was my teacher in elementary, right? You're this person, she did that or that." And so I think that definitely impacted me. And I think I had a feeling of like, oh, I wanna it was inspiring for me. And I was like maybe 14, something like that at that time. Not that I planned on, but I don't know. I think I grew up with that, and so I think it got implanted in my psyche. My mom. They just go over the top, over more than they need to do, to help people. Like my mom, she taught bilingual education, And so it's a lot of like, like people coming from Mexico and different countries, lower means, and she went over the top of just, because they would drop out, right? Because they don't have, can't speak English well, and the families are, they're not in a good place probably financially, and so she went over the top to help these kids out, right? And make sure that they succeed. And I think that's an example, right? That I had, growing up, and still to this day, my mom still has that same energy, and I don't know, it's who I am. And
Is that your goal? Is that your
I'm
goal
thinking
in
about,
life? I mean, like,
I'm sorry.
is that your goal in life, to help people and really reach out and allow people to be the best of the best that they can be with your
My
assistance? I
goal in
feel like
life,
every
goal in
time I
life,
come to your academy, yeah,
I don't know, like what's my goal in life? My goal in life is stay true to myself, be happy, right? And yeah, lift others up, right? Be happy, have, create happiness, with have a good time, life's short, let's enjoy. I don't think think I have a goal, to help people out, but I think we all do. I think when you give, you receive, right? And so I think it feels good. It feels good to help, and it's good for me too. I mean, the pandemic was a good example. People were thanking me for like the things that we were doing, and I was like, well, thank you guys, because I need it. I need it as well, to it makes me happy. I love jujitsu. I love TacFit. I love this lifestyle, and so I don't know. When you give, you receive. Or when I help others, you receive as well, right? So I don't know if it's a goal per se, but I love it. I definitely love it, and yeah, I see myself doing that till the very end.
it every time I visit your academy, every time I visit Burbank, there's this, I can't help myself to this very welcoming environment, and that was from literally day one when I visited you out there. How does this happen? How does this organically happen? Like, I've been to so many academies all throughout everywhere, and it, Legacy Burbank is very unique in that environment, that culture, that it feels like is your first or a thousandth time on the mat, and it's just everybody is just, you get soaked into this very family oriented environment.
Um, that's that. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Um, how does that happen? I think it's a lot of things. I think I was telling you a little bit about my family and who they are, and then I think just hey, this next year is going to be 25 years of running, having a gym. But I think it's a combination of those things, and then the people, right? The culture that we've created, and it's just that same energy of wanting to help people, and having that same frequency of people all working together to do that. Being one in that with that energy. Um, so I think yeah, just doing the right things for a lot of years. It happens. Somebody, I think it was like this weekend, somebody came in from, I think they were from out of town, and they were telling me like, man, it feels like people are just like going home to their house, like they just hang out, like it's like their living room, and I guess it is pretty special, I don't really think about it. I definitely don't take it for granted, because when I go out of town and I come back in, I'm like, wow, this is a really nice place. Not to give myself a pat on the back, but yeah, it's really nice. And I think people are attracted. The right people are attracted to that, right? Like if you want that, you stay, right? You stay. I remember Warren Gracie said something like that, like, how do you keep the riffraff and some, people that you don't really want in the gym? How do you get them out? And he's like, well, you just keep the place really clean and really, really, positive, or whatever, in the right way. And then the right people, it will attract the right people, and like the rats and the riffraff and whatever, people that are in it for the right, the right reasons, whatever, they'll just disappear. They'll go away. And I think that's a good example.
Yeah, it sounds like it all happens organically. It's all a natural process. You never sat down and had an outline of this is what I want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I started my first gym when I was 23 years old. And I definitely, yeah, like, I have like great family, man. My mom, they're just such great examples. They just go over the top. They just really, they work so hard and it's not even hard, right? It's like their joy to see people, um, you know, succeed. Like, like these at risk excuse me, these at risk kids, in high school. My mom taught from kindergarten all the way through high school. She even had her own little school for a little bit, but I've seen these at risk kids, you know because she made them believe in themselves, finish high school, go to university, change everything, just because of the extra effort that she did. And so growing up with that, like, how can I not be that as well? So I don't know. I just have great family and great, like, mentors. I've been lucky to kind of attract the right mentors, even from a young age.
You talked about staying true to yourself and not allowing other people to influence us in a negative way, particularly. And I feel like today that's difficult for many, especially with social media and all the influences that we have from the outside. How do you stay focused on that? How do you keep your mind sharp in a sense of this is what I want to do, and all the distractions are, kind of dilute and they get removed out of the way, so Alberto remains Alberto.
Yeah, right. I think yeah, most of the stuff is created when they say, like, what, to 8 years old or something like that. Like your child, like your values and stuff, and who you are as a person, right? Um, is formed with that. So I think just having those values as a kid, uh, that's a great point though, with social media and you know just all the distractions and our interactive technology world, staying out of the matrix, right? And so, man, jujitsu is definitely one of those things, right? Jujitsu is definitely one of those things because you're not on your phone when you're doing jujitsu. Um,
Yeah.
so I think doing jujitsu and the culture, having these places, are gyms, and TacFit as well. I think TacFit, jujitsu, and then just being aware, right? It gives you better awareness, I think, of yourself. And my wife is really great with being like, hey, let's get off technology or whatever, let's do this, let's do that. So I think all those things combined creates a nice lifestyle of being present and enjoying the moments, right? I feel like I keep
Do
saying,
you
like,
think that that's
life is short, but
do you think
it kind of is,
well,
I
but
went
it
to my
is, but it
I went
is. I mean,
Well,
to my 30
yeah.
year reunion, high school reunion last weekend in New York City. I went to high school in New York, and if you kind of not forget about people, but you kind of didn't think about them for a lot of years. And I'm like, holy crap, like it's it's like that, like a snap. We were in high school. My kids are in high school now. And so I'm kind of like, wow, this is crazy. And it doesn't seem that long ago, but it seems like lifetimes ago as well. Lifetimes ago as well. So it just went by so fast, so fast.
what was your first impression when you walk into that room? You see all your peers from, a couple decades ago, way back from high school. You walk into that room, you see some of the faces, some you might recognize, others you might not. What goes through your mind?
What goes through my mind? Well, I met up with a couple of buddies from my high school. I played soccer in high school. So we kind of caught up and got to meet their families. And so when we walked in, it was just kind of seeing who I recognized, and then some guys I just, man, I didn't think about them, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy was a great friend, so it was really nice to reconnect. And then, yeah, step by step, people that I didn't really talk to, and they knew about me and then didn't talk to me. So it's just really nice to connect in the different stage of our life, right? Um, I don't know. Just I guess my intention is just to connect and see everybody that that I knew. Um, yeah, and it's just like old stories and stuff. It was really, really. I didn't know what to expect actually, and when I saw it, when I went in, my reaction was just like, who do I know? Am I gonna know anybody here? I had a couple of people from high school from my soccer team that were there, but am I gonna know anybody else? So when I first walked in, that was my first thing. But then I started to one by one, like just like, oh my god, hey, and then people I didn't talk to, I knew their faces, and then we all had like a little name tag with our old picture in it, and so it's funny, it's funny. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Was there a particular surprise, something that really stuck in your mind that you didn't even cross your mind prior to that moment?
Just like people that I didn't really think about, that were like good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's important thing. I think it's an important thing to stay connected with friends. I love jujitsu because of that. I love that, a lot of my best friends in my life, they've been from jujitsu. They've been people that have connected with from jujitsu, and now TacFit as well. It's been an amazing journey. I got involved it's been like it's getting on about 10 years where I'm like, and I was introduced like 15 years ago, but just 10 years being like living kind of the system. So it's been really cool. It's been really cool, and yeah, just staying connected with friends. Things can get in the way. People can you get married and stuff, like time away from your family, this and that. But I think friends, especially as men or boys, like you need to have those male friends, and it's important for our well-being.
We have a guy trying class this morning. We got a guy trying class this morning who is a referral, and he's been friends with the guy that referred him since they were in third grade. And the first thing he said is, he uses it as a measure for people. If they don't have friends still from when they were kids, there's something wrong with that person. And I think that's true, and if you can hold on to all these people for decades and decades, it says something about you and what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
They know that
At the same time, I think it's...
Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was about to pivot a little bit.
No, I was just saying, yeah, it's they know the good and bad. They accept you for who you are, right? The good and the bad. Not that you have any bad, Gary.
They know all the dirt, right?
They know everything, so they accept, right? They accept you for who you are, and I think that's important, right? Like we were saying.
At the same time, I feel like it's difficult for today's young people to keep these relationships for a long time.
How do you stay grounded? Right? And it's staying connected with those like old friends. That's how you stay grounded, right? You don't. I think that the question you asked me, I think kind of talking about this kind of made sense. Like staying connected, of course, family, right? But these friends too help you stay grounded. Like hey, it's just you, like not getting like over, big headed or whatever, staying humble, right? Keeps you grounded. I think those people do that. Another thing
I feel
too,
like every time I talk to you, go ahead.
Another thing too that was interesting, that I kind of thought that was interesting was, man, all my friends and the people that I was hanging around with, they had like similar values till this day. I thought that was interesting. Like they think kind of the similar ways, with like just values and, family, just I thought that was like very interesting. Things haven't changed much, and it's been 30 years, right? 30 plus years. So I think that was pretty interesting as well. Not that you're gonna change so much as a person, but hey, I was a teenager and I have the same values as now with the people that I hung out with. So, and they have the same as well. So
every time I talk to you, it's hard to ignore the fact that you are very much so a people person. It's very easy for you to connect with people. Matter of fact, recently we had a conversation and you said that this is what I do best. I just, I talk to people, I engage with people, I connect with people. This is what you're talking about right now, is how do you find those connections to come so easy? Like, for anybody who watches you travel everywhere. You from Europe to Brazil, in US, and you just went to New York and so on. And I feel like it is so easy for you to connect all across with anybody. You're friends with everybody. Like, is there anybody you're not friends with?
Yeah, right. That's man. I think about that. How I connect people. I don't know. Like, like I think people feel that energy, right? You want people to do well. And then, I don't know. We have fun. We do fun things, and I don't know. That's a you got me. I don't know how to answer that. How do I I don't know. That's I don't know how why, people I don't know. I guess I'm yeah, I have that frequency of I want to help see people do well, and I'm a good friend. I'm a good person. I feel like I'm a pretty good person, you know. Maybe somebody else might not feel that way, but yeah, I try to be the best friend, and I'm a good friend. I'm a good friend, and I'm like loyal, and I'm very like, if I'm with you, I'm with you, and yeah, I think that's it's been a lot of years, so there's like a deep trust, right? Um, Man, people that are around me, that I've been with for all these years.
Do you think that's the difficult part? That at times those relationships depart and they separate, people go in different directions, letting go of these relationships, and maybe, sometimes things are not in our control, right? People are people. Do you think that's the difficult part behind establishing these relationships with people?
It's part of life, right? So yeah, for sure. Like, it's sad, like, it's not always gonna work. I was at Draculino's. I had the pleasure to stop at a layover, and his gym was right by the airport, and so I was able to just take a quick Uber over there. And I was like, "Hey, you in town?" He's like, "Yes." Oh my God, it's amazing. Let's go. And so I went over there, and we're just talking about that, because for him too, like, he's been teaching for so long, and he's had, like, almost pretty much most of his guys, like, it's a real crazy. I don't know what the percentage is, but like ridiculous. Not in the 90s, high 90s probably. Like, stay with him, stick with him, and I think that, yeah. So just saying that, but not some people don't. Some people, they do stupid things. Stuff happens. Sometimes, that you can't control, and so I think that's just part of it, right? And you just have to accept that. But something I've learned though too, as I've gotten older, maybe I would get mad at people, and when I was younger, and now I'm like, man, it doesn't matter. It's all good. Like, if I value the relationship, I'll do my best to kind of just you know what, like, things about money or whatever else, even what is stupid stuff. It's usually stupid stuff, right? Doesn't matter. I'm like, it's all good, man. It's all good. Like, people that I've had like really good um good times with, and that, I feel like I'm very close with. It's like, whatever, man. It's all good. I wish you happiness, and you're well, and everything's gonna be okay. Um, so I've definitely learned that with time, to, yeah, just not make it. It's not so serious, and if I can do something to salvage the relationship, and then I will. Then I will, and no, I'm not gonna get mad or get upset. Like, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Not many people look at it that way. Some are very, driven by, almost that conflict and proving somebody wrong, and so on. You look at this completely differently.
True. Um, yeah. What do we know, man? What do we know? We're supposedly on this spinning rock to go flying through the universe, and the smartest people in the world, right? The smartest people in the world. They say we think, but we don't know. And so I think that's something to take note of, right? That the smartest people in the world are saying we think, but we don't know. And so, to be so, you know, have such a strong opinion, or not think, right? I think we don't. I think we don't. I think we think. It could be, but we don't know. So I think one thing that we do know for sure is, like, connection and love, and those kinds of things, and right? There's like an Albert Einstein quote as well, right? Where it's like you either think the universe is with you, like on your side, or against you, right? And so I definitely
Mhm.
choose the universe being with me, having faith and believing that everything's going to be okay, and I definitely feel like that, no matter what. No matter what, it's the end of the world, it's going to be all good, as long as we have each other, as long as we have like these connections, we're good. We're good.
I love it. Big part of your mission, or big part of the things that you do, is obviously you're involved with TacFit, last several years, last decade or so, right? And that's growing in a tremendous way. But I feel like every time I visit Burbank, I can't help myself that it's beyond even TacFit. It's beyond jiu-jitsu. It's this ability to live this healthy lifestyle from what you do, how you do it. We train hard, but we recover well and taking care of ourselves. Where did all this start? Like, where does this idea about this well balanced life surface in your mind?
I don't know. I followed my intuition, right? I followed my intuition when I was a young man. I moved down to Brazil. I wanted to be the best and all that, and I followed my intuition. It didn't make sense at all. What am I doing? This jiu-jitsu thing. Nobody knew what it was. Well, if you watched the early UFCs, maybe you did. And then also, yeah, there was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I not getting a college degree? Why am I not, and so I can get a good job and all that? Why am I doing that? Why am I in the jungles of Brazil, fighting with people and you know getting my arms, my whole body messed up. What am I doing here? Um, and so I followed my intuition because I loved it. I loved how it made me feel, and then I wanted to share that same energy with others. And so I think the same thing goes with, I was diagnosed with MS in 2012. I didn't pass my fight medical, and so I always like it was always like a type A, I guess, personality, if you want to call that, and just go go go. And I never thought about recovery. The first time I kind of heard or thought about recovery, I read this book, but then also Scott kind of enforced like some of those things, but it wasn't like ingrained in my brain yet, But getting involved with TacFit really opened my mind up. Like, this is the way, like this is the way to train, like recovering, like you get stronger in the recovery. What are you doing to recover? Because part of your training, you train hard, but you recover harder, and then that's how you become better. And so, what are you doing to do that? And I think it took me a lot of years, and I'm still like learning. Like, don't get me wrong, but I'm always trying to push the 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 boundaries for myself. Like, what can we do more, so I'm always open to like ideas. And I think part of that journey was for me finding my own self. Like, like, listen, I was in a really bad place. Like, I had difficulty walking, talking. That's kind of one of the reasons why that's why I started doing the podcast too, just to challenge myself. And yeah, like a lot of things, and everything hurt in my body. And so step by step, I started doing TacFit, like the movement. And then I wanted to know why like things started to come back online. I didn't dream for like 10 years. A lot of things didn't work. I couldn't read, like I couldn't comprehend. Like, I used to read a lot when I was younger. And then when I got older, I couldn't read. I couldn't comprehend. I got like dumb, I couldn't learn. I couldn't learn. And so as I started to do TacFit, things started to come back, and I was able to kind of just things started coming back, and I was like, why did this happen? Why, what's going on? So I just went on this rabbit hole of like neuroscience and fascia and body, just how things work. And so within that, I started like, just going to all these neuroscience courses and brain things. And then with that came in some like body work things. I became like a fascial stretch therapist and some other things just because I wanted to learn more. I even did like a or we body, what do you call it, cadaver dissection, like where you can like
An
cutting somebody
autopsy.
that dead body, yeah, all the way down, because I wanted to know and see and feel like how the things worked, and it's so interesting, man. Like, that's why I have to be humble, because like man, the guy took like the shoulder blades off, and we're like, looks like shoulder pads, as you cut it off. And then just the organs, you're just like, man, like as you take out the organs and stuff, you're just like, what the heck? Like how does this is crazy, this is crazy. It's like these planets, it's like this universe inside of us. Like, who created this? You can't help but think, like, just it humbles you. Like, how did this happen? How everything's like just perfectly designed. And yeah, just going back to the question of like, I just wanted to know why things start to come back online. um just things like, for like people, and I want to help my students too, right? So they get injuries and I'm like able to help them, and that's so that fuels me. Because people are like, oh, you have to, my shoulder hurts, oh, I go to the doctor, have to get shoulder surgery. Let me see, oh, like one of my black belts, right, asked me, and then I'm like, well, look, let me see, do this, let me see. And it's like, oh, it looks like your lats are really tight, do these stretches this week every day, and let me know how you feel at the end of the week. Oh, my shoulders aren't hurt anymore. He never got shoulder surgery. Okay, that's just one case, right? There's so many cases. Like, one of the students, right? She hurt her elbow. She was going to go out to a tournament, and it was her good elbow. The other elbow, she hurt it, like whatever it was, like 6 months or a year before that. And then she went to the doctor. They put her in a sling, and her elbow still bothers her today. I was like, okay, just do a movement right away, and then I showed her how to tape it because she had a tournament. It was like the next week. It was an international thing too. And man, she got better in a week. And that was my introduction to TacFit. Somebody supleed me on my neck, and I was in such pain. Usually it's 4 to 6 weeks, some pain medication, maybe talk about surgery, and it never fully heals, right, with injuries. But now, and then so when Scott showed me, he's like, show me some movements on my neck, and I healed myself in a week. And that was the same thing for her and just everybody else that I show, For example, the guy who termed the term RICE, you guys have heard about that, right? Rest, ice, compression, elevation. That's why you guys have ice, right? And you give people ice, right? And so when that guy got older, that he's like, no, I was wrong. You want to move your stuff. You want to move your your body parts, right away. Out of pain. It's all interflow. All TacFit interflow. You move through the interflow. And so you move your joint right away, out of pain, but you just move it. Okay. Actually, the protocol is, if it's really bad, let's say somebody arm bars you and your elbow's like, you can't even look at your elbow because it's like it's throbbing, right? So you actually move your other elbow. Move your other elbow. Move your other elbow with the elbow joint. And then with that, you're able to connect to your one that's really hurt. And then you just move it, just real subtle movement. You don't have to do a lot. Just little movement. And then little by little, it starts to relax, and then you're able to move things, right? Because, man, going back to the dissection, the guy's like, what's a nerve? Like, what's a nerve? What does it look like? What is a nerve? You've seen the book,
right? Yeah, I've seen what it looks like.
What's a nerve? It's like pudding. It's like slush. It's liquid. And your fascia, so it's like the fascia is around that, and it contracts. It contracts. It relaxes with your thoughts, with your feelings, with traumas. And so you need to just relax your body, and then the stuff just your body heals itself naturally. We have all the power inside of us, so you just gotta know how to unlock. We're our biggest enemy, right? With in jiu-jitsu and fighting and everything, we're our biggest opponents in everything that we do, right? We get in our own way, right?
So you don't pass your fight physical, and you start discovering all this stuff, all these other things leading up to all of that. It sounds to me, like it was just abuse. You're abusing your body, through jiu-jitsu, through fighting, through not recovering correctly. And then you start to put these other pieces together of, oh, wait, I've been doing it wrong up until now. And then it just kind of opened a whole new world for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the TacFit, like, man, we have a TED compass, right? Where it's like, like your, misuse, disuse, overuse, right? So we have all those things, and it's like the magic is in that Goldilocks zone. Basically, like you want stress, but not too much stress. And so we're always working in that 60-80% of the heart rate max, even with the workouts. And so like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And then you start applying, that's the way to everything, right? Everything in my life. And so, Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I love jujitsu. And I want my students, I want myself to be like Helio Gracie, doing it till the very end. And it makes me sad when when people get hurt and they get surgeries, or they just they trust doctors. And I'm not saying it's always the wrong thing to do, but like, let's ask questions. Let's get to the bottom of it, and maybe there's something else we could do. Maybe there's some movements we can do to heal, or to release tension in the body, to relax whatever the discs that are compressing. Maybe there's some other things that we can do. I bet you we can. I'm pretty damn sure we can. And so it's just that if you ask the
I take your
doctors,
proof.
right? If you ask the doctors, see how they respond. See how they respond. See how if they come back. Oh, that's good. Or if they get defensive, right? It's interesting. Like.
So why do you think the doctors respond in that way? Why do you think the medical field responds in this very easy way of, listen, here's a medicine, here's a surgery,
I did a
we're going to
podcast
fix
with
you.
Dr. Terry Walls. She has this diet protocol. She's like a MD, and she had the best medical care possible, right? And she kept getting worse and worse. This is her story. She got worse and worse and worse until she was bedridden. And she's like, man, if I keep going, that's it. I'm dead. I'm going to die. And so she's like, let me look. And so she started to like look at stuff, and she started to try out different foods. And then she started to implement different foods. And then she starts to get better, like little by little. And she's like, oh man, I can sit up. Now I can stand up. Now I can walk. Like, I'm back. Oh, if I change my diet, I can change like how I am. So what was the question? What did you ask me before I went into that tangent?
I don't know.
I think it was why are doctors the way they are? Why is it so simple? And I think it's
she has to be careful. She has to be careful with how she says things, because she goes around the world and educates people, right, on her protocol and how to eat and all that. It's some other stuff, right? For MS, was like she had multiple sclerosis. Sorry, I didn't maybe say that. She had multiple sclerosis, and she's got worse and worse and worse. And so I think it's the easy. Man, I don't want to say you because pharmaceutical companies so big, but like, listen, like, that's the easy way to they people make money, right? Surgery, drugs. I mean, that's why, and it's kind of like, it sucks because our system is kind of set up that way, but there's great doctors there too. You just have to ask questions. You have to find the right people. And
I think that's the biggest part of it.
Yeah. So I think a lot of doctors, they go into it, right, with the right intention, right? They want to help people, or maybe not all of them, but yeah. Many doctors, right? They're great doctors, but yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think this might be a weird analogy, but we often talk about like people who are still really believing like old style traditional martial arts and things that aren't tested and all these. I feel like doctors, that's the way they've been taught. That's all they know, right? So they might, like you said, go into it with good intentions. That's all they know. So that's what they give back to you when you have an issue. And finally, now we're starting to see other things penetrate that to where there's alternatives.
I mean, like a lot of guys, you ask them questions, they don't know. They're not up to date. I mean, listen, like 10 years ago, like they cut away the fascia like it wasn't important, but all our immune system, right? Our nerves, like our their hormones, everything travels through that like gooey liquid, like fascia, everything is like connected with that. And so, yeah, it's crazy. Like it's, and man, some people, like the old school doctors were the best doctors, like the dentists and stuff, because they knew a little bit about everything. But now today, like a lot of people are just specialists in certain things, right? So they don't know like a little bit about everything. But the best doctors back in the day were like, they knew a little bit about everything. And so they were pretty well versed. Now it's like very specialized, and then like the easy, it's kind of like, it sucks, to say that, but like kind of like a business, to just get people through the door, and not that they're the bad guys, but the way the system's set up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So essentially what we're saying, we just need a little bit more jiu-jitsu, a little bit more TacFit, a cold plunge, sauna, and like some little bit of good healthy food, and life is good, right?
Yeah, and it's cool with TacFit is where you get to really educate yourself on just how the body works, body mechanics, breathing, and with that, you're able to unlock a lot of issues with yourself, and you can help a lot of other people, become ambassadors of this way, this holistic system called TacFit. It's all there, you know. It really truly is all there. If the bone is sticking out, okay, you got to go to the doctor, right? You got to get it fixed. But overall, overall, we have the power inside of us to heal ourselves. Pretty much always.
So
And
as
TacFit gives you those tools.
you know, few decades have passed by, 25 years coming up soon of you being in the martial arts business. This TacFit, it's about 10 years or so you were involved heavily into this. If you look out in the future, next decade or two, where are you envisioning all of this going?
One second. Thomas, can you
Yeah,
repeat the question? I think I can see Gary.
absolutely.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Now here we go.
Okay.
Can
So
you hear me?
25 years in, yeah, we hear you. We got you. Yeah, we got you. 25 years in martial
Okay.
arts, 10 years TacFit, a big mission that you have to impact people. If you look out in the future, next decade or two, where do you see all of this going? What's the objective for Alberto, for jiu-jitsu, for TacFit? Where you want this to be?
You know, with TacFit, it's very want to change a billion people's lives, because everybody should know about these things. Everybody should know about these things. Like, it's so powerful. You can really change your life. You can change all those around you if you know these basic things, like Interflow, FlowFit, Club Bell, like just the principles behind all this stuff, of TacFit. The right way to just that things work. So we definitely, like, a billion people around the world with TacFit. Legacy and jiu-jitsu, like, I just want to, and with TacFit, I just want to do good quality work. I want to whatever we do do it really, really well. Do our best with it. And whatever happens with that intention, whatever happens with that energy, so be it. We're definitely growing. We have so many black belts here in LA. And then in New Mexico too, one of my old students from New Mexico came out, and he's 22 years. I should have, gotten his black belt, years ago. But yeah, it's a lot of years of excellence, of really people pushing the boundaries and limits, and at the highest levels, in all fronts. So when I keep that going, keep that same energy, keep those same roots going, and expand. I'm not 20 years old anymore, but we have 20-year-olds. So let's work together as a team, and do our best. That's how big things happen.
Is your goal to step aside in some capacity at some point and allow these young 20-year-olds to take over all of this and run it as the next generation?
Man, like my daughter is, she's getting so good. I want to stay connected. I want to be like Haley Gracie. I want to stay connected because it makes me happy. It makes me happy. Whatever capacity I can do, I want to serve. But I feel myself staying connected till the end, with all this, I want to stay connected. But for sure, I want to put people that are the best suited for the job, for the position, So if there's somebody better than me, like, please, and I'll support them, but with the same culture and the same thing that we're about, right? The same values. So yeah, so whatever that may be, and like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not 20, and maybe when I'm 60, 70, like, I may, somebody's not going to want to maybe do jiu-jitsu with, say maybe do jiu-jitsu. It's going to be different, right? Me teaching some young man, or it's a different place, right, in my life. So for sure, jiu-jitsu, I feel like is a younger person's thing. Of course I could still be on the mat, and I want to be supporting, but it's going to be different for sure. And you always need young up and coming people to step up, and fill in the ranks, right? then that's how big things happen, right? With that way of doing.
That's the beautiful part behind all of this. That we discovered this jujitsu, we discovered TacFit, we learned, and we passed the baton, and then the opportunity for others to not only explore this but grow and pass it on and on from generation to generation. Is that an overall goal for you and I get everybody, I think, including me, for us, for this to get impacted and like a tsunami in a way. More people we touch, more people they can touch, and so on, and change this crazy world in a sense to something a little bit better, something a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think that asking me that question, thinking about it a little bit more. I guess just I want us to be around for a long time, even past my time. I want to be a part of something that's gonna be around past my time. Maybe AI is gonna come in and we're gonna live forever, but if I was,
is that your goal? Is that your goal?
My wife jokes, "Hey, you want to live forever?" Because I try to take care of myself, but no, I want to. I'm good with I don't want to live forever. But if it happens because of technology, so be it. But I definitely I want it to be past. I want this to be past my time. I think it's something beautiful, and as long as there's humans, as long as we're not robots, I think this is here to stay, and this is only going to grow.
Do you think, like, jokes aside, but do you think that the whole AI and the robot thing will take over the world at some point where this human interaction is not going to be so simple?
Like you've seen the Matrix movie. There's a guy named Ray Kurzweil. I watched him on Joe Rogan actually a couple of weeks ago, just because I'm curious. He's like this futuristic guy, and he's like saying, by 20 days, he calls it the singularity, basically, where robots like they're going to be, the brain, they're going to be smarter than the brain, right? Or catch up, and then he said, I think he said like 2050, maybe he said like 2030 now, but things are evolving so fast now. So I think, and he says like people are going to basically become robots or whatever, humanoids, whatever we're going to become, kind of like a mixed thing. And then robots are going to be like the evolution of people. And I remember watching those videos. This is probably like 5-6 years ago, and kind of being sad when I was watching it, because it made me feel like not important. And, my kids, I don't know, I just thought made me a little bit sad. So I stopped watching it. And then these years have passed, and you know what? I watched Rick Kurzweil on Joe Rogan, and he didn't really wasn't it wasn't so what everything I thought. But I'm in a different place now, and I'm excited. I'm excited for whatever happens. Going back to that Albert Einstein quote, I think the universe is on our side, and I think it's all good, man. No matter what happens. When the light bulb was invented, some people thought it was going to be the devil and the end of the world. Different things happen with technology, and I'm excited, man. I'm positive, and definitely, some of the poverty and some of the just bad things that happen in the world, like I'd love for it to not happen, right? And some of those things don't need to happen at this day and age. There's a Terrence Howard, that the actor. He was on Joe Rogan. I was watching. Yeah, all these inventions and stuff, and it was so interesting. It's so interesting. But I'm very positive. I'm very positive for the future. I do believe all these things will help humanity, but everything's always in a balance, right? So listen, like, for you to appreciate the very good things, right, you have to go through some bad things, right? For you to really enjoy like a glass of water, you have to be really thirsty for a long time. For you to enjoy like the simplest food that you'd be like, oh, this it has no taste. You have to go through some hunger, right? So you really appreciate the things from going through some hard times. And we're built for hard times. We're built for, to suffer. Humans, right? We're built for that. And yeah, if things are too easy, you've seen that. What's that?
Do you think in some sense the world is easy? Go ahead.
Well, that movie, what was that movie? Was it the robot movie, Wall-E, where everybody's like
everybody's all fat,
sipping the things, and they're all fat, and man, like we need some hard times, man. And jiu-jitsu gives us some little bit of hard times, because things are so easy, man. Back we had to have to roll down the windows back in the day, and now everything's like automatic. Now you would have to turn your now you click on the camera. Like, man, we're taking our movement away. We're doing all these things to make life easier, but man, we need to do things that are hard. We need to do things that are challenging for us, right? So you ready to do the cold plunge, Gary? You ready for the cold plunge?
Sure. Oh, I'll get in that anytime. That stuff doesn't bother me.
Okay, good.
It wasn't that long ago that we were suffering. Like people, I think forget. 50 years ago, I think we're living in the best time right now, and it's only going to get better, right? Through technology, if you look at what your day to day is now, as opposed to what the average person's day to day was 100 years ago, I'd much rather be living now. So I think people, your positive attitude, I think, is what people need to have, and look forward to the future instead of being afraid of it.
Yeah.
That's
My
all.
wife, she kind of worries about this and that, but I don't know, man. Let's enjoy now, and I'm positive. I'm positive for all the changes, and I'm excited for. Just got to tap, right? You got to stay open to the possibilities. Got to stay open.
Yeah.
I love it. Every time I talk to you, that positive attitude just radiates from you, and I love the fact that you continue repeating. We just want to do a good job, and just just enjoy this life. Like we all have expiration date at some point. We all gonna go away, and just enjoying this moment and really embracing the good stuff that we have instead of hyper focusing on the negativity. It is so important, and I wish more people really embrace that attitude.
Yeah. Take care of our kids. Be there for our kids, our families. Be there for our friends and loved ones, right? And being present, just taking those moments, those small moments that maybe aren't a big deal, you might not think are a big deal, can be everything for somebody. So, doing our best to be that, to take those moments and enjoy, right? Enjoy and help others.
I love it. Well, listen, before we start wrapping this up, what we do at the end of episodes, and we haven't done this with you at the very beginning, but we have a question from a previous guest. But he didn't know that, or she didn't know that who was going to be answering. So think of it as a question completely in blind, and Gary's going to take a lead on that, and it's going to always creates an interesting ending to the conversation.
Yeah, and this is funny because you were talking a lot about connections today, and this person is connected. We all know each other through this jiu-jitsu thing, even though we've never met. I don't know if you know John Combs at all, but he came up through Easton. Yeah. So, right. And you and Amal, obviously, and all of that. And then us getting together with you and then getting together with those guys. And so it's all about those connections. But John wants to know, what was your favorite and least favorite competition experiences?
My favorite competition experience, I think fighting in New Mexico, because I had fought or competed everywhere in the world with jiu-jitsu, and then I started fighting. And so I think fighting in New Mexico, there was a fight where I fought Javier Vasquez for the King of the Cage title, and it was on pay-per-view, and it was super popular. Like, I think the same night they had the UFC, and Coluno fought BJ Penn, and I don't know if it's true, but heard that we had better ratings than the UFC. And so I think, and it was a sold out arena, and everybody's, I was the hometown guy, and, it was a close fight, and we, it was whatever, it was, stuff happened. Yeah. It just, it was a great moment, it was just a great moment because everybody was there, just all the support, all the love, and, kind of put some, say brass, but some winning in New Mexico, 505. So I think that was a special moment. My worst, I don't know if it's the worst, but one of the things was I got armbarred in Brazil, so I moved there, and because it's in a tournament, so a guy armbarred me, and before I won my first tournament, I'd lost a lot, and so one of the tournaments, it was just in some small town. We went to some small town, and some guys were good, and they just I didn't tap because I was stubborn and whatever, and the guy armbarred me and he hurt my arm really bad, and it was like really bad, and I didn't know what to do at the time, right? So I just had to take it, and I was in pain for whatever the week after, and it never fully healed, right? And I think just kind of like, man, like, what am I doing here? Am I ever going to win? Why do I keep doing this to myself? Just kind of doubting myself. Right. So I think maybe that was one of the lower points, but man, it's never like a low point. There's no bad things. And you always get something from that, saying like drinking water after being thirsty is always better. So like winning after like losing and going through all those trials and tribulations just make you the strong person and resilient person that you want to be, that I would want my kids to be. And yeah, students, it just makes you a better person. So I'm grateful for all the
We
good.
do appreciate things.
Right. It's all your experience, right?
Yeah.
Is John Combs? If I would ask John Combs, was that throwing up on the mat a couple months ago?
We didn't bring it up.
Trials or something. Yeah. He like threw up
it's
on the mat.
Well, he said his following exploded afterwards, so he's much more popular now than he was. Yeah,
he was doing so well too. He was doing so well, but stuff happens.
Yeah, we didn't bring it up on the episode, and he I think he was grateful. Yeah, since we stopped recording, he brought it up.
He owns it. He owns it. Yeah, he's been out here a few times actually. His family's from Thousand Oaks, so not too far from.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was a great conversation with him. All right, Alberto. Well, we've been on this for an hour as we're wrapping this up. First of all, thanks for hanging out with us today. That's one. Two, thanks for joining us for the episode 200 as a return to episode number 1. This was kind of my planning, meaningful to me, as this crazy podcast project started for, due to pandemic, and it's like, I appreciate you being then and the episode 1. I appreciate you being here, but more importantly, I truly appreciate your friendship. You've made tremendous impact on me personally, but what you're doing for jiu-jitsu community and TacFit and recovery and just people around you is mind blowing, and I truly believe we need more people like you. So I appreciate all the wisdom, all the philosophy, and everything you do around the world. Gary?
I can only say ditto, all the same. And I really appreciate everything you've done for us, the guidance you've given us over the years. Especially here at the Academy, coming out, supporting, taking time away from friends and family to be here. It makes a huge impact on everybody. And when you come through the door and people are like, oh, that's him. It's like, yeah, that's him. Should I talk to him? Yeah, you should talk to him. What are you talking about? Go over and say hi. And it's that, it's that, like you said, that frequency, that energy you give off. It's contagious. So thanks so much. And thanks for a great time last December when I was out there, and you drove us all over the hills to eat some good food and hang out with some cool people. So I appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for all the work you guys do day in and day out. And let's do episode 300 when it comes around.
Oh, there you go. That's the plan. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up for today. Alberto, once again, thanks for hanging out with us today. And, we'll see you soon, just in a couple months. So,
awesome. Looking forward to it.
All right. We'll see you.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to RŌL Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.